Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Russ Jaffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We've got the weekly game on CBS on Sunday afternoon in the Big Ten with the Purdue Boilermakers traveling to the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know on paper this looks like this game should be a blowout win for Purdue with the way Ohio State's playing. Chris Holtmann, the Buckeyes head coach, he just got fired. I made a video on it the other day. Link is in the description if you want to go check that video out. And I talk about some coaching candidates that could possibly replace Chris Holtmann. But I'm going to preview and predict in this video whether I believe that the Purdue Boilermakers can go on the road and knock off the Ohio State Buckeyes like they should, or whether Ohio State, with all the uncertainty going around the program right now with their coach fired, can the Buckeyes shock the college basketball world and upset the Purdue Boilermakers on their own floor. Now, Purdue, they're 23-2. They're 12-2 in the Big Ten Conference. They currently have a 2-game lead in the Big Ten standings. Things are looking great right now for Purdue to win the conference. They are a 1 seed in the NCAA Tournament right now, whereas the Ohio State Buckeyes are on the outside looking in. Ironically, despite the free fall that the Buckeyes have had this year, they still have a slim chance to make the NCAA Tournament. Now, obviously, that's not likely that they will turn it around and make the tournament, but if they can knock off Purdue somehow, you never know. And plus, if you look at the series history recently between Purdue and Ohio State has been very competitive when this game is in Columbus. Ohio State only lost to Purdue 71-69 the last time these two teams played at Ohio State. And the time before that, it was a 67-65 win for Purdue. And then the time before that, Ohio State was able to knock off Purdue. So Purdue has had some struggles at Ohio State the last few times. And with Chris Holtmann, the head coach for Ohio State, being fired, it is going to be really interesting to see how the Buckeyes team responds. Because we've seen before when teams fire their head coach, sometimes their players just go out there without a care in the world. They're free of weights off their shoulders. There's no more pressure wondering if their head coach is going to get fired or not. And sometimes the players just ball out and they play great and they can knock off an opponent, especially because Ohio State has been competitive with Purdue recently, gives you the belief that maybe they can do it again. And even the FBI predictor on ESPN is kind of showing that as well. Purdue only has an 86% chance to win this game, which I know that's a great chance, but you would think maybe Purdue would have a 90+% chance to win this game. Ohio State has talent, which is probably why they are giving the Buckeyes at least a 14% chance to win. When you look at what Purdue's done this year, they're scoring 85 points per game. They're giving up 70 points per game. Purdue is a very good offensive team, especially since Matt Painter added Lance Jones to the roster, in addition to all the players that they have returning, including big Zach Edey. And then their defense is only giving up 70 points per game. They're good on both sides of the ball. The only question for Purdue, is this their year to make it far in the NCAA tournament? We'll have to find out. But in the regular season, they've been elite. And Ohio State is scoring 74 points per game, and they're giving up the exact same amount of points on defense like the Purdue Boilermakers at 70 points per game. But unfortunately for Ohio State, their offense just has not been good enough this season. As you can see, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and their only win was over Maryland at home in double overtime, whereas Purdue, they've won their last 5 games. They only beat Minnesota by 8 last time out. Minnesota's been playing fairly well, and maybe because Purdue is on one of these big winning streaks, they could slip up on the road because they're playing so well, and sometimes you can lax up as a team because you're going on the road playing a team that's barely over 500, and you could be like, oh, we're going to easily win this game because we're playing so well, and sometimes you can slip up, and Ohio State has too much talent to be this poor, and that's why at the end of the day, Chris Holtmann ended up getting fired, because Bruce Thornton is a good basketball player, averaging 15 points per game and 4 assists. Roddy Gale Jr. is averaging 14 points per game, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Jamison Battle, the Minnesota transfer, is averaging 13 points and 5 rebounds. The issue is the rest of these guys are not really contributing at the level that they should. Zach Edey has been an often injured player for the Buckeyes throughout his career, and that has limited his ability as a basketball player. At one point, he was a guy scoring around 10 points per game. He's only averaging 7 points and 4 boards right now. He's playing solid ball, but it's not enough for what Ohio State needs, especially with Felix Okpara not taking the offensive jump Buckeyes fans were expecting. He's averaging 6 points and 6 boards. He's a good guy on the glass, but he does not have a lot of offensive versatility. Evan Mahaffey, the Penn State transfer, has not really contributed too much on the offensive end. He is a versatile player on defense, however. Dale Bonner, the Baylor transfer, has struggled to score the basketball, and Scotty Middleton has struggled to score as well, and that has culminated in them only scoring 74 points per game. They struggle from three at 34%, which if you want to beat Purdue, you better knock down some three-point shots because you know Purdue will. Ohio State's shooting 76% at the line, so you know the guys on their team can shoot. It just hasn't translated to the three-point line, but this team only averages 13 assists per game. The Buckeyes do not set up their teammates very well for really good shots, and that is a massive problem when you're trying to win a college basketball game, let alone against the number 2 team in the nation in the Purdue Boilermakers. Matt Painter has a well-constructed basketball team with Zach Edey being the head man, averaging 23 points per game and 12 boards. He was player of the year last year. There's a good chance he wins player of the year again. He's improved in certain areas. His footwork's gotten a little bit better, and he's automatic down low if he gets the ball within 2 feet of the basket, which is so hard to keep him outside the paint. Ohio State is going to have a tough time with that assignment, just like every other team in the Big Ten does, but I don't really think that the Buckeyes are going to have a great matchup for him. Felix Okpara is going to have a tough day, but when you look at Zach Edey and the fact that he has also improved at the free throw line, he's shooting 70% at the line, so you can't hack a Zach and just hope that he's going to miss the free throws. He's going to knock him down at least 1 or 2 every single time, so that's going to be tough for the Buckeyes. Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer, the improvement from those guys from last year when they were freshmen to this year as sophomores has been huge for the Purdue Boilermakers because it's made their backcourt better. Braden Smith's averaging 7 assists per game, which a lot of those passes are to Zach Edey, but he does set up the other guys on the roster as well. But Lance Jones has been the key for the improvement for Purdue. The transfer from Southern Illinois, he's averaging 12 points per game and 3 boards, and he's shooting a respectable 35% from the three-point line to help complement the above 40% three-point shooting from Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer. And even Zach Edey's shooting 50% from the three-point line in limited attempts. But why Lance Jones has been such a big addition for Purdue is because of his ability to drive in the lane, something Purdue has not really had since Jaden Ivey. So they got these great three-point shooters, but now they have an athletic guy in Lance Jones on the roster, kind of like how Wisconsin added A.J. Storr, which has helped them out big time this season, even though Wisconsin's been struggling lately. And then you got other guys like Mason Gillis, Trey Kaufman, Wren, and Caleb First, who are great program guys who all contribute off the bench, and that has culminated in Purdue averaging 85 points per game, which is stellar. They're shooting 40% from 3, which is much better than last year. Purdue being an improved three-point shooting team is why a lot of people think this is their year to go far in the tournament. Only time will tell. They only shoot 70% at the line, which they do need to do a little bit better than that. Granted, Zach Edey does drag that percentage down. Overall, they do have enough good shooters at the line, and they average 18 assists per game, so they are much better at sharing the basketball than the Ohio State Buckeyes. But who do I believe is going to win this game? I believe the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to go out there and just give it all that they have. Without Chris Holtmann being head coach anymore, they have nothing to lose. They're on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament. Their chances are about done, and I don't even really think at this point they're all that desperate. It's not like Ohio State. It's a win and you're in type of situation. They need a lot of wins to get back in the tournament conversation. And with them being at home and the fact they've been competitive against the Purdue Boilermakers the last couple times on their own floor, I think this game's going to go down to the wire. But at the end of the day, I do believe that the Purdue Boilermakers will knock off the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus 77-69. Should be a close game, but then at the end, Ohio State's going to kind of fall apart, and then Zach Edey's going to dominate down low. Purdue's going to knock down their free throws to seal the game, and it's going to be very tough for the Ohio State Buckeyes to score enough points to knock off Purdue when they've really struggled on offense this season. I think they're going to play a lot more open and free in this game, but it's still not going to be enough, and Purdue, they'll hit enough threes to be able to pull away from the Ohio State Buckeyes late in the second half. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Whether you believe that the Ohio State Buckeyes with no Chris Holtmann can go out there and shock the college basketball world and upset the number 2 team in the Purdue Boilermakers and keep their slim at-large chances for the NCAA tournament alive, or whether you believe that Purdue, they've been rolling and they're going to keep on rolling by knocking off the Ohio State Buckeyes on the road. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.